Welcome back everyone. In this video I'll show you how to wire my E2 turret controller to the V4 turret that we created in the video before. So here we go. What do we need? Well, we need a pod. So in this case a seat where you can sit on. Then we do need a pod controller, so the formerly known as advanced pod controller. On it, right click on the stick, so it's now linked to the entity, and you can see the link displayed when you hold the tool. Then we need a cam controller, which means a camera controller. This time you need the client side movement for the standard chip that I use. And you can also have a client side zooming in order to zoom in or zoom out. And I usually draw the parent. Right click on it and right click on the seat, so it's now linked. So what do we need now? We need the E2. So now the fun comes part. So grab the Expression2 tool, load the E2 code that I gave you. It would be uploaded on my website. E2. I'll grab them closer to it. And I made a little nice piece of software for you. So how to wire it up? ACF gun entity goes to the output of the gun itself. Chair entity goes to the entity output of the pod controller. Pod controller wire link wires link to the pod controller. Base plate wire links to the base plate, the green part where the ropes are attached to. Pod active comes from the active output of the pod controller. Camera direction comes to the CamDir output of the camera controller. ACF guarantee ready comes from the ready output of the Canon. And the ammo count output goes to the ammo count output of the Canon. Then, if you check with the debugger tool, you can see that this E2 has two outputs, the camera position and camera parent. Those two should be wired to the camera controller, was the position, the camera, and the parent, the camera parent, so that we can move the camera around with the E2. Also, you should activate the camera controller with the active output of the pod controller. I don't recommend you to use this input with an E2 chip, because if it bugs out, you will be stuck with the cam controller enabled on your player on the server. So now we can check. And we see that with the standard values that are gathered automatically looking at the gun, it works perfectly fine. But now, how should you tweak this? Let me show you. This is nice and indented code, so don't worry. Usually you shouldn't change anything, but if your gun is like offsetted in a certain manner, too much or too low, you should like be able not to make your contraption spots around. So, well, usual things: max elevation and max depression. That means how much the gun can go up. This is 30 degrees maximum, and go down by 10 degrees. Let me see. Yes, that's 10 degrees. We can try to change that. We want to have a max elevation of 10 degrees and a depression of, let's say, 3 degrees. Right, it elevates just by 3. Alright, it elevates by 10 degrees and goes down just from 3 degrees. That's something retarded, like a T-34 with the 122mm. So the gun travel speed, we have 40 degrees per second stock. If we want to simulate a very big tank, we can make 18 degrees per second, let's say, and the turret will travel very slowly. You know, it's probably helpful with a 100 or a mouse tank. Then you have the camera view offset that you can check with this line uncommented. There is the position. This is the position of the camera, so you can move it for the back, up, down, left, right, and the camera moves with it and stays attached to the EQ. Be careful because the hologram does not move and refreshes when you either refresh the EQ or you get in the seat. Then the most technical parts, there is the inertia offset and damping offsets. Those are used for calculate the to calculate the force needed to move the turret around. So the inertia is the force that is applied to the turret, and the inertia basically is calculated with the weight and the size of the gun, and the damping is used to slow the movement, like to add a drag. Otherwise this will happen. Let me show you. You see the turret will be imprecise because there's no drag, there's no braking effect, and when the turret reaches the 0 position, there's nothing stopping it, and it goes on a negative value, then tries to reach 0 again, and that will result in this bounce. So imagine if you have let's say a gun with a lot more inertia than the EQ can calculate, like this. You see, it has it's very further away from the center, so the gun will have a lot more of transverse inertia than it would expect. And thus you'll see that it bounces, and because it doesn't have enough force, differently from the elevation. And in order to fix this, you just high up the value of the inertia, and usually you high up also the damping. Be careful because the damping effect will generally not be very seen in a gun, but if you make it too high, it will be likely to spot when some other props touches the gun and tries to push it around. So here's the effect with the damping up. You see there's no jerkiness, no etc. But let's make up this point. What if I want the turret to be extremely powerful so it can handle any gun? I put 5, yeah, 5 of inertia offset on the gun traverse. Yeah, this will happen because the force applied for each small movement is too high, and the prop is it's basically too light for this force. So that there's always a breakpoint that you cannot surpass in those things. You see, 2 is okay, but it jerks a little. I'm not sure if you can see it. And that's it for this tutorial. Everything will be posted on my website, links below in the description. You can download those 2 examples, you can download my tanks, you can download the code, or you can just view the code online. And stay tuned, if I have further updates, I'll probably complete my pro version of this turret that uses 2-cam controller to have a sniper mode directly coupled to the cannon. And see you later, guys.